Thank you for your time today. My name is Garrett, founder, owner, and operating manager of Tap Truck OC, a mobile bar service serving the Orange County area. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit about our story and the team, the problems within our industry, exactly what is a mobile bar service, the competitive landscape, and kind of what that looks like, as well as how we plan to address that, not only with the journey that we've been on, but also our competitive advantage and how we plan to capture this market. Um, we'll also get into a little bit about our organizational vision and mission, um, and as well as our organizational values and how those values are reflected within the practices of our workplace. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, my partner and I met in high school right here in Orange County. We played different sports growing up, and there was little friction at first, but things changed when we ended up going to the same school together, the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. We looked up, noticed a familiar face, put our differences behind us, and set sail to new adventures. Um, we've been through it all, thick and thin, traumatic experiences, you name the storm. My partner and I have weathered it, pushed through, and set sail to bigger adventures. Um, and I say that because a business is a team. It's a team solving problems. And the bond that my partner and I share is very strong. Um, through it all, our passion, one thing remained, our passion for having a good time. So we were really stoked about tossing around the idea of starting a mobile bar service when we became unemployed during the pandemic. We kind of had, I had a passion for food trucks. He had a passion for craft cocktails after working in the industry for a while, becoming Tom Cruise. And yeah, we kind of just put those together in order to serve the market that we knew was going to be shut down for the foreseeable future. But we figured it was not only a strategic business decision, as things would be opening up at some point, but also um, it was a way to serve the community and keep the community spirits alive. Just doing those smaller gatherings, at first practicing all the social distancing, XYZ. So, yeah, that's a little bit about our story. We launched in a market that devastated the entertainment industry, the service industry, food and beverage industry. I have a graph that highlights it in the presentation. Obviously, this is a verbal, so but yeah, the entertainment was hit the hardest. In fact, over 80,000 people lost their job, which accounted for 37% of lost jobs in the American economy, and that was over the past year. We launched in August of 2020, so yeah, and there was still a lot of uncertainty within the industry. People at best were hesitant in returning to eateries, bars, restaurants, entertainment venues, concerts, stuff like that. And their attitudes, like, reflected that they reduced their frequency of eating at restaurants, and they reduced their away from home activity. So I mean, obviously, um, yeah, but like we plan to combat that. We plan to not combat the virus, but to do everything we can to be successful on the other side of it. So um, we saw it as an opportunity. People were taking the regulations more seriously than others, while some bars were, themselves operate with procedures that ensure the safety. Even with all the measures in place, it still made people uneasy about public spaces. But people were more willing to host at home events ever before, establishing the ideal market for a mobile bar service to operate. So, those are kind of the industry problems that we experienced and kind of the reason behind why we chose this direction in launch of the business. So, just a little overview about our business. A mobile bar service are free to travel to various events and locations, setting up wherever the event coordinator or customer needs them. They work with party planners, wedding venues, wedding coordinators, customers directly, and they provide the beverage service, among other amenities. The process involves a conversation, dialogue where a menu is created and a date is secured. We use different technological process such as HelloSign and other technologies such as Canva, to in order to execute that side of our business. The majority of mobile bartending businesses start out with an annual profit of 24 to 41,000. We were right in this mark, actually a little below the mark. It's pretty understandable just because of the circumstances that we were in. However, that's no reason, but we just came in right around $20,000 for our first year of business, which was, right on that mark of the industry standard. And as we expand and as we grow, our plan is to obviously increase the amount of vehicles that we have, increasing our capacity to serve the marketplace. And just like a little bit about that marketplace is, it's pretty large. We plan on going after it. This is an area that we were born and raised in, where we have tons of personal connections, in which we plan to launch a strategic, launch party, generating, great word of mouth. We also have entertainment and alcohol contacts. For example, we're doing a 3,500 person show on July 10th. We're also, booked for an equestrian show the whole month of June. So just entertainment, industry contacts. We've also gone after the different wedding venues, event venues. We were at the Lombardi House this past Sunday in Los Angeles doing stuff like that. Corporate gatherings, we did parties for HP, different, so all I'm trying to say is that there's multiple markets here. There's even venues for non-alcoholic markets. We work with an ice cream truck named Archie's. We do non-alcoholic parties, ice cream float parties, all out of our tap. So the possibilities are endless, and the capacity to serve this market just grows with your capacity as a business. So the more bars that we have, the more we can serve this market, and there's tons of potential in this market. Our focus is just simplicity, it's exposure, and it's responsiveness. The business that isn't going to save any lives, but there's some money to be made here. From our understanding, the key aspects are what I said: simplicity. People are looking to save time. Exposure. People aren't going to look hard for a beverage service for their party, so it's just placing an importance on those personal networks and getting a good reputation. And lastly is responsiveness, which just involves timely communication and following through. We're going to rely on our strengths. We're strong extroverted interpersonal communicators. We have a strong connectivity to the market. We're hospitable, and we have congenial personalities. And we also have a growing knowledge of what is local beer, cocktails, XYZ, things that are foundational to our industry. Our strategy is primarily relational. We're accessing a series of personal networks and launch parties in affluent neighborhoods in Orange County. It was pretty successful. We've gained traction, and our bookings reflect that. Just a little bit more into the marketing plan. In terms of the social digital media side, obviously we have three major things. We have our Google ads, which are, direct to consumer. They generate us the most, per click response. We also have our social media. It gets a really nice buzz going in the marketplace with Facebook and Instagram. Kind of gets people talking about us, liking us, and gets us connected within the industry with other event planners, food coordinators, food trucks, XYZ. And then lastly is our paid advertising, in which we do on the Knot, and so wedding website, in which customers can see a little bit about our brand, what makes us unique, and to see if they want our services at their special day. So Yeah, a little bit about a look into the future. So obviously we launched in 2020. We've spent this past year kind of gaining knowledge in the industry and operations and refining our processes, cataloging our experiences, and refining them into a detailed communicative effort in which we can transfer them to our team. In which we plan on acquiring within the next 6 months. So we've also are in the expansion plans right now, in the midst of our expansion plans. So we're growing right now to two trucks. We're gonna do a panel truck. It's classic. And then we're also going to grow into a commercial space in which we could have the proper systems and functions to organize and execute our business a little more effectively. Um, Next, after that, we plan on growing to a fleet, having more of our staff, and our staff will actually be, practicing our organizational values, and this is where vision, mission, and alignment all come in. And we're probably about a year and a half away from this point. But we already have things defined, like we value family, which means to us is caring for one another as we care for ourselves with trust and loyalty. We value communication. So we seek to understand, and in turn to will be understood. We seek development. God loves us where we are, but too much to keep us there. So you're made for more. You're designed with giftings, talents to be developed for the service of others. We provide the tools, you provide the commitment. Creativity, innovative. We value innovation, exposure, newness, and ingenuity. Just finding a way forward. And those visions and values will be reflected in the workplace. Just by our practices. For example, communication is something that we value, and our customer interaction process is outlined, and it describes something along those lines that reinforces that communication aspect that we value within our company. So, just for example, the process starts with an inquiry that we receive from a customer. We follow up with an email that presents a scheduled phone call. That phone call goes over the details of the event, and based on that phone call, like the next step is completed. It might just be quickly a deposit contract. It might be a few phone calls to follow up, just depending on the customer. And we have an entire script set up for our clients, or the internal team members of our business, not our clients. Yeah, and then we also have a detailed quoting pricing plan. We make it flexible, so people can have the decision making power to go ahead and book those shows. And then we obviously use those digital services that I talked about earlier to help us with our processes. And then we have a set way of organizing those events that we book and lock down, so our team is communicated with, and everyone's on the same page in order to be successful. We use Google Calendar. We plan scheduled phone calls with our customers 2 weeks before, and we catalog them as well in order to follow with them up at a future date.